The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jamison Rabbit, and the man seated next to me, he's what the Oscar award was actually modeled after. His name is Mike Roth.
I was eating a lot of steroids, and
Yeah.
I was naked all the time. It was a good time in my life.
Very smooth.
That's what people told me.
Take it as a compliment, man. Anytime you can get it.
I like it. It's tough to shave your head like that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So you don't see the back of your head, a lot of cuts and nicks.
Yeah.
Which I got a bunch on my neck.
Ugh.
Necks are hard, too.
Necks are tough.
Shaving sucks.
Don't do it. That's my plan.
No,
I just continue the path of not doing it.
You are a furry fellow.
Let's see, if we need to change our intro, speaking of which, one of these days, because that's not a man that I recognize in the intro anymore.
No, I look a lot different, too. But I
Yeah.
still wear that shirt.
Well, it looks good on you, sir. All right, compliments over. Let's move on with the show. This week we have a couple of movies on the marquee, but more importantly, this is our pre-Oscar show where we make our predictions and also hand out our awards for who we thought did the best in 2019. We'll be getting all that, but first, we're going to see what's on the marquee this week. And the first movie we have is one that Mike has for us. It's a bit of a horror movie.
Yeah, this is something that's been done quite frequently, terribly. But we changed the name around. It's Gretel and Hansel, directed by Oz Perkins. Sophia Little, she plays Gretel, and the story pretty much revolves around her. Her and her brother, it's hard times in the land. Her mother is kind of losing it, and through the acts of violence, she says, "You got to get out of here, or I will chop you up."
Yeah.
So Gretel and Hansel takes the road. Hansel, played by Samuel Leakey, and they come across some bad things and some good things. A lot of the scenery is very gothic looking. It's very striking. The contrast is off. Everything looks menacing while they're out in this world. A kind person tells them, "Hey, take this path, but don't stray because some of the wolves out there are really bad and you don't want to mess with them." Well, of course, they're starving and they didn't know what to do, and they take some foods that they probably shouldn't have from the forest floor, and they stumble upon a witch. And a lot of this does follow the fable where two kids find a witch. She has a bounty of food for them, not really a candy house. And in this movie, Gretel is kind of set aside from Hansel and was told that she has certain powers and she needs to work on those powers. I'm not going to tell the rest of the movie. Basically, everybody knows how it ends. I think how this is portrayed, though, it is a gorgeous film. And out of all the bad Hansel and Gretel movies,
A lot of them.
this one is, I think, extremely above par. This is the best horror movie for me of the year. Not
is
much to
faint
choose
praise,
from,
sir.
but it is beautiful to watch. It is an interesting story. I liked all the characters. We have Alice Cridge plays Hulda. She is the witch. Her makeup was fantastic. How she acted in this role was fantastic. My words. I need caffeine.
Words are tough.
Words are tough. I liked everything about this. It was a great movie.
You learn some things that hold true in all fairy tales.
Yes.
Hungry kids always make bad decisions.
Yes.
Never trust a witch that you find in the woods, especially if she has a hairless cat.
Yes. Yeah.
And I learned this when watching Midsummer last year, that a lot of weird adventures start with mushrooms.
Yes.
That will be the beginning of some crazy adventures. I like in this movie how Gretel, she's young, but she's the leader as opposed to Hansel. He's kind of the young doofus kid, and she has the strength and wisdom to get herself out of some and not get lured into certain situations early in the movie, which kind of set them on their path. I like that she's very uneasy about the situation with the witch, and they're lured in with promises of some food, some rest, some safety for a little bit. She's like, fine, but we're on our way.
Yeah.
She's never quite trusting of what's going on. And then she starts getting these visions and these nightmares and things that she's seeing and all of these things. And I like all this. I like that she fears gifts. I like that throughout the film there's things that come up. The great quote of hers that says, nothing's given without something being taken away. That holds true through this whole film.
And I love it when the brother returns it. He's like, you've only said this to me. Why?
Yeah.
And what is being taken from you right now? I thought that was really powerful.
I thought Alice Krige was really cool as the witch. Very powerful, very convincing, very duplicitous. I liked her, and it's an eerie film. Like, it feels familiar because we know the story.
Yeah.
But it's unsettling in what they're doing with it, and it's a story of a heroine discovering power. And I like this, and the way the witch kind of slowly presents herself, and like I thought it was really well done. Like this is a film that I wasn't looking forward to, kind of dreading, because of
past movies?
history.
Yeah,
and like, oh boy. And I looked at it; it's 87 minutes long. That's barely a movie.
Yeah,
but I think it was a perfect length for this movie. If this movie would have been 120 minutes long, I think we could have had some issues with this. I think this is a perfect length to tell this story. And I think going in with low expectations to no expectations really helped me in this one. I was really surprised. I went in, I was the only person in the theater. I was like, oh boy. Going in thinking this is going to suck. And there's no one else here. I'm the sucker.
yeah.
And I was fairly well blown away by it. I really dug this film. I think it was a really, really well done telling of the story.
If you think about it, it's actually closer to the fable than anybody else.
Right.
In the fable, Gretel is the hero, but in all the other movies, Hansel
be the dude.
It has to be the guy. Gretel was the one who was helping the witch, trying to trick the witch. Hansel was fodder for
absolutely.
literally.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
dumb
And
kid.
in this movie, they portray that really well.
What did you end up giving Gretel and Hansel?
I gave it a 4. I really like this movie. I don't know why I didn't give it higher. Besides, maybe it's just a basic story, a retelling of the story that's true. So
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. A nice surprise this time of year.
good.
I'm very happy with that.
Curious, did you see it today?
No, I did not.
When did you see it where you're the only person at the theater?
What day was it? Monday? I believe I saw it Monday.
All right, folks, if you want to have a theater to yourself.
Yeah. No, that's my day. Moving on, the next movie we have on the marquee is a film called The Rhythm Section from director Reed Moreno. Stars Blake Lively as a lady named Stephanie. The movie opens with this tragedy. Stephanie, we see her. We find out that she lost her entire family in a plane crash that may or may not have been a terrorist act. And we're dealing with the fallout from that. And when we see her family in flashbacks, we never are able to hear her family. And Stephanie, we cut forward, and Stephanie has kind of lost control of her life. She's working as a prostitute. She's hooked on drugs. Things are bad. It's when a mysterious journalist comes into her life to tell her that he knows the truth behind her family's deaths. She kind of chooses to wake up a little bit, or at least try. And he says, I can help you. I know who did it. And very slowly, she kind of wills herself. She ends up finding this man, B, who's played by Jude Law, who very begrudgingly trains her to do a job that he doesn't think she's capable of. To basically become a spy, I don't know, someone out for revenge.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of someone becoming a spy that's not great at it. We see training sequences. She's terrible.
Yeah.
And he pulls no punches, literally and figuratively, with her in this training, and she never really becomes great at it. And there's like I don't know, there's a humanity to that in this like imperfect training in a world where we see, there's always in training like, oh, and then they learn this special move, and that's going to come into play. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and then here's the crane kick, or whatever. We don't have a special move or a special weapon in this movie.
No.
She learns barely enough to go on her first job, and it's not slick, it's not easy. She's not even good at it. She kind of fails. Blake Lively basically just kind of running around in trying to seek revenge. Blake Lively I really like her as an actress.
Oh yeah.
She had a hard time settling on an accent in this movie, I found.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of all over the place. I was not too sure what she was doing with that. But I'll tell you what, I enjoyed this movie.
Oh.
I enjoyed this movie. I like the fact that it's very different from any of these movies. We've seen Peppermint and Long Kiss Goodnight and all these other movies about the female spy who discovers herself, blah, blah. And they're all too slick and too easy. And I like that this one isn't that. And I like that I like that it's something that I don't remember seeing in this typical genre of film.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember seeing things like this where you see someone who struggles. It feels like a real person going out there and gets her butt kicked.
I did not see the difference with this movie with a lot of the other movies. Yeah, she continually sucking at her job. The fact that Jude Law was willing to expose himself or care for someone who sucked so much was a little bit off. My favorite part of the movie was when Jude Law tells Blake Lively, and both these actors, I love them both. They're both great. When he goes, "You're a cliche," and that's what I was thinking for the first hour. You had a family tragedy. You were a smart person immediately for some reason.
This is anything but a cliche, this
Really?
movie. Yeah, I thought it went against everything that we see in this genre of the woman who suddenly something happens. Peppermint is the huge thing. Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
Like, her family's killed. Suddenly, she's just kicking everyone's butt. She's pulling MMA moves out on everybody. And you're like, what? How? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm just a regular housewife that knows how to manufacture a weapon out of nothing.
Yeah.
I like in this one, it wasn't that. And when she goes on her first job, it's not what you would expect.
No.
I like that there's a cool car chase in here that isn't a normal car chase. It isn't a couple of souped up Audis going through random streets. It felt visceral to me. Like I was kind of holding on.
And I liked that scene. That was a really cool car chase scene, but I could not get into it because I just felt like I've seen this before.
I dug what they did with this. I think that I'm not a huge fan. There's some time jumping in here that I don't like. I'm not a big fan of that. There's some editing in here that I was kind of thrown by. I didn't care for. But I think a lot like Gretel and Hansel, like expectations were key for me. I went in the theater, no expectations, came out of it, really enjoying this flick.
Well, that is cool.
Yeah.
Was this a Monday too?
No, this was
Tuesday.
Oh. What did you end up giving the rhythm section?
I gave it a 2.5. I thought it was
you sure
average.
About that?
Oh,
You gave
I'm
it a
at
2.
2. I gave it a 2. I gave it less than I.
It is less than.
Yes.
I give it a 3.5, just like Gretel and Hansel. I dug this film.
Well,
I think it's a good film as far as this genre goes. It's up there for me.
I'm glad you like it.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, I disliked it more earlier.
This is true. When
Yeah.
you told me you disliked it. All right, let's move on to one of our fun episodes here. We are going to be talking about the Oscars. The Oscars are coming out February 9th. So as we are recording it, is only a few days away.
Yeah.
And, of course, we always like to make our predictions and hand out our own personal awards that we would give for each category. So I'm going to run us through the categories, who's nominated, and then we'll get into what we think of this.
All right.
So our first category is Best Animated Feature. Our nominees are Toy Story 4, Missing Link, Klaus, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, and I Lost My Body. Now, sir, first from you, I want your prediction of who is going to win.
I predict Missing Link.
Okay.
It was a fantastic film. It really was. I think overall the storyline is going to push it, just like Zootopia pushed it that year.
And who would you give your personal, the Mikey? Who's getting the Mikey?
It is one of my top 10 favorite films of the year. It is a fantastic movie. I am giving this the Mikey.
Oh!
It looks exactly like the Oscar, by the way.
You guys almost look alike right there in that picture. Look at that.
He doesn't have a mustache.
I see it.
Nah.
That's what I picture when I think of you, is that face right there.
Oh, wow. My cranium is that
Well, I got to bring you down after
shallow?
the compliment
Oh,
earlier.
well, okay, thanks.
All right, for me,
He even dresses nicer.
Hey, nice. For me, my prediction, I think Toy Story 4 is going to get it.
Really?
They like to reward Pixar films. This is like the end of a beloved franchise. I can just see them giving it to them.
Okay.
I think this is one of the tougher categories this year, though. I think all 5 of these nominees are great. I really enjoy these movies.
I didn't see I Lost My Body.
And thus, that is the movie that I'm giving whatever my award is called. I'm giving my award to I Lost My Body. I thought it was one of the sweeter films this year. It was my favorite animated film. I really enjoyed it. It's a sweet little weird love story and also like tragedy. You have a missing hand trying to find its owner, and the owner just trying to find a reason to live, and there's a love story in there. I liked it.
I'm going to have to check
It's
that
on
out.
Netflix. It's a sweet little film.
I see the big M.
Yeah. Let's move on, sir, to Best Supporting Actor. Our nominees are Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joe Pesci for The Irishman, Tom Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Al Pacino for The Irishman, and Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes. Who are you predicting to see up on that stage?
I am predicting A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. That man's won a couple of awards.
He has, and you know, there's a part of me that feels like he won't get the Oscar just because he has gotten so many awards, and it's not like he's at the end of his career and they're going to give him a pity one. A lot of these decisions, I feel, are pretty political.
Oh, absolutely.
But in this case, he really did take on a hard role. I don't think he nailed it. Like, I would not confuse him with Mr. Rogers, but he came closer than I think anybody else could, and it was a very endearing movie.
It was. So who are you giving your personal award to for the year?
Tom Hanks.
Hey! Symmetry. Nice job. All right. My prediction is I think Brad Pitt is finally going to get his first Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's been nominated a few times, 3 previous times. I think that his character was the backbone of this film. I also think that, going through all 24 categories, I kind of pieced out, and I think they're going to want to reward this film, and I'm looking for spots that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going to get an award. I think this is one of the few that it'll actually get a win is here. So, yeah, and you know, they like to reward actors who have been successful and never actually gotten an award.
Who would you pick?
My pick would actually be someone who was not even nominated, but who I thought gave the best performance of the year by far and was robbed of a nomination. I would give my award to Willem Dafoe for his role in The Lighthouse, by far the most standout performance of the year, kind of spinning this insane dialogue, driving the viewer and Robert Pattinson insane with his character, and he just became this salty old sea dog, and I love it. I couldn't look away from this guy in this movie. So
Could we call the award that you give out the rabbit? Because I could picture that a lot better.
All right, we'll give out the rabbits. All right, moving on to Best Supporting Actress. Our nominees are Margot Robbie for Bombshell, Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, Florence Pugh for Little Women, Laura Dern for Marriage Story, and Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit. Your prediction for the lady up on the stage thanking her friends?
My prediction is it's going to be Florence Pugh for Little Women. I think they want to give this movie a lot of love, but I don't think it's going to win Best Picture or Best Director.
Well, Best Director is impossible because she didn't get nominated.
Well, true, but I mean, yeah, I think they're gonna want to give as much love to this as possible, and the best way would be just take some of the actresses and be like, "Here you go, you did," and they did a great job. They
Absolutely,
really did.
They sure did.
I did not like the story, but the acting was great.
So who's getting the Mikey from you?
It's also going to be,
Staying on top of them.
just staying right on top of them.
You might be right about all these. Who knows?
I doubt it. You usually sweep these things.
We'll see. We'll find out in a few days. My prediction is Laura Dern for Marriage Story, kind of for a similar reason as I said for Brad Pitt, because I think Marriage Story was a great acting performance. Now, I didn't really love her in this movie. I thought it was a two-hand movie between Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, but she's also been winning a lot of awards leading up to the Oscars. I think they want to reward it, and I don't think the other two actors are going to get their awards. Spoiler alert. And so I think they're going to want to reward her somewhere. But for me, I would give it actually to Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit. I don't really love this category. I think there's some missing pieces, but she's nominated for two acting Oscars this year for this and for Marriage Story. And this is I thought Jojo Rabbit was kind of the lesser of her two performances, but I think I would give it to her. I really enjoyed her. Now, I was really torn between this and Florence Pugh. Like, these are my two favorite actresses right now, are these two ladies. But I think she offered the heart to Jojo Rabbit.
And I really wish I saw this movie.
Yeah.
I do, and I wish it was streaming before the Oscars, but it's not. So I'm just going to have to see it when it comes out,
It'll come out
unfortunately.
eventually.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
No.
All right, let's move on to our best lead actor. We have Joaquin Phoenix for the Joker, Jonathan Pryce for the Two Popes, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, and Adam Driver for Marriage Story.
Mm-hmm.
Your prediction, sir?
My prediction is Joaquin Phoenix for the Joker. The whole movie is based around the Joker, obviously, which is based around just
Thus,
one
they
character.
titled it Joker.
And Mr. Phoenix, he is the emotion and the oddities. This whole movie is pretty much great because of his personality and the way he portrayed the Joker.
Yeah, it's all on him.
There is, good cinematography, nice story and everything, but with a huge focus being on how he acts, he did a fantastic job. I rewatched it last week and a little bit of it. Just powerful and convincing performance.
Sure.
So I think he did great. And yes, I believe.
Doubling up on it?
Yeah, I'm doubling up on it. So who I would give it to?
Nice. All right. For me, my prediction is also Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. I think this is kind of a slam dunk. I do like a lot of the other actors in this category, but I think this is kind of the slam dunk. He's been winning all the awards leading up to it. The entire film was put on his back.
Yeah.
He put in a great performance. The film itself, I don't totally love.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of, since the first viewing, it's kind of sunk in my
Okay.
mind a little bit.
Did you watch it again?
I have.
Okay.
And his performance is great, but I have some issues with the movie. But it was all on him, and I fully expect him to get the award. He's a great actor. He should have been nominated and won Oscars already.
Yeah.
So well deserving. The Rabbit, though, I'm handing out The Rabbit to Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, a movie that I actually just got a chance to watch.
Yeah.
After I put out my list, we did our show, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
Finally got a chance to watch this movie. And he blew me away in this movie about this former filmmaker who was past his prime and hooked on pills and heroin and struggling to kind of keep his life in order. And he was just mesmerizing.
I need to see it because Antonio Banderas, for me, he's been in great films, but he's never really blown it away for me.
Yeah, he's always just been kind of that guy.
Yeah.
And he was amazing in this.
Attractive man doing really cool films, and but I
For
never.
Mike, he's just always been Puss in Boots.
Yeah, Puss in Boots. He's great. He's great at it.
He is good. All right, let's move on to our best lead actress. Our nominees are Renee Zellweger for Judy, Charlize Theron for Bombshell, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, and Cynthia Erivo for Harriet. Your prediction, sir?
I would have to say Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan?
Yeah, again, for Little Women, I think they really want to give this movie a
She was
lot of
great in
love.
that movie.
And she is great in this movie. She really is
She's
great.
in everything.
But
the Mikey goes to...
The Mikey would go to Renee Zellweger for Judy.
Ooh, we're breaking away.
That was a fantastic movie. Again, another movie centered around one actress and how she does. Of course, she's not really Judy Garland all the time, but she is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
And it's a comeback story for her. She's been out of Hollywood for a little while.
True.
It's a nice story.
So, are you thinking?
I
want to hear your predictions.
I'm giving her the prediction. I think she is going to win. I think Hollywood wants to give her the comeback award. I definitely think she's going to end up winning it. My award, though, you're going to love this, is a tie. We've had it happen before, so it's unprecedented.
That's not right.
Oscars, we've had ties in the Oscar ceremony. So my award, I would give to Lupita Nyong'o for her role in Us, her dual role in Us, which I think she should have been nominated for. It's a robbery. She was great in this, and she has to share the stage with Awkwafina for her role in The Farewell. She had that entire movie put on her back in a role. She's a comedic actress. She's never done anything serious like this before, and I thought she was amazing in it. So the two ladies are going to have to share the stage and share one trophy, but that's who I'm giving it to this year.
That's not right. You got
It's the rabbit. The rabbit can be split so many ways.
You can split hairs.
I can split. You got
Funny, I'm a dad.
All right, let's move on to Best Director. Our nominees are Sam Mendes for 1917, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, and Todd Phillips for Joker. Your prediction, sir?
I am predicting the comeback award for this one. We have Martin Scorsese doing The Irishman. We got the old gang back. He's doing the things that he was best known for. It is a very popular. A lot of people love this movie. I think they're going to give it to Martin Scorsese because it's going to be his Lifetime Achievement Award.
Those are always good.
And I can't see him doing anything better than this. I mean, he could, but he is
Mike's
up there
calling
in
you
age.
out. Martin.
I'm not
Marty.
Martin's not watching the show, thank
Oh,
God. But
well, all
at
right.
the same time, this is going to be again a re-height in his career, and it's be a long time before he could.
But
come
who
up
gets
with
the
something.
Mikey Award?
Sam Mendes for 1917. That is by far one of the best directed movies I've seen in a while. The seamlessness, the constant action, the emotion. It was visually and emotionally and just entertaining
Your
all
number
the way
one movie
through.
of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am actually predicting that Sam Mendes wins it.
All
I'm
right.
predicting that he gets it for 1917. But for me, the rabbit goes to Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, which was my number one movie of the year. Loved it. Thought he did an amazing job. And I'm really pulling for him, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get it.
Why don't you think he's going to get it?
Because I just think Sam Mendes has got it. I think Hollywood just loves that movie. And war movies are pretty successful when it comes to Oscar time.
But
There's
this
a long
is a
history.
World War I movie. I mean,
Oh,
no
boy.
one. We don't know how that
Nobody
goes.
remembers
There's
that.
not a lot of those.
Finally, the big award of the night, the one everyone's vying for, Best Picture. Our nominees are 1917, Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Marriage Story, Little Women, and for some reason, Ford versus Ferrari. That's just a personal commentary. One of these things is not like the other. Your prediction for Best Picture winner.
I think I've been hinting at this already, but 1917 is the best picture. I don't think he will get the director. I think they'll give the throwback. So
they
they're
do
going to
split
have
it
to.
often. They split director and picture.
Yeah, you have to give kudos to both.
Yeah.
And why split hairs when it comes to the best movie of the year? And yes, the Mikey
you
goes
go.
to the best movie of the year.
I like it. Yeah, my prediction is 1917 will win Best Picture.
But
But The Rabbit goes to Parasite. It's my favorite movie of the year. I love
Okay.
it. I have to give it to them. So I highly recommend you check out all these films we've been talking about, especially the ones that we would give our awards to. If you haven't already, go check them out, man.
Yeah.
These are some great films.
and Parasite has been a buzz for quite a while, and it's streaming now. So if you haven't seen it
check
and
it
you'd
out.
like
It's
to
on
watch
your
it,
Amazon.
yeah, you go ahead
Absolutely.
and check that out.
Again, the telecast is February 9th, so next week's show we'll be recapping what actually happened and see if we got any of these right.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You usually do pretty good.
do all right,
You
not too bad.
Keep a tally.
Lay-
Aren't you in a pool?
Yeah, lay some money down on this thing.
Nice.
I come in looking real dapper, the Monopoly man hat on. You'll know. Wow, Jameson
winner.
switched to a monocle suddenly. Let's take a quick look ahead, sir. What is coming soon, the weekend of February 14th? Why, that's Valentine's Day, if
Aw,
I'm correct.
yeah.
Ooh. And we have 3 very romantic movies. The first one is Sonic the Hedgehog. After a delay because people don't like hedgehog teeth, Sonic is finally arriving in theaters.
Marcus, during those little trailers,
Yeah.
they tell everybody, people didn't like the first one, so they had to redo it.
Yeah, they did. We also have Blumhouse has a new film, Fantasy Island. I'm not sure if Tattoo is in this movie or not.
I'm looking forward to it.
Hey?
Yeah,
It's a Blumhouse film. They usually do something fun.
That's what I'm thinking. A horror movie based on what could have been really much a horror television show.
Very much. And then lastly, The Photograph, movie starring Lakeith Stanfield about, it's a little love story that kind of, I guess, bends time, I think. I don't know. There's some weird things from what I can understand, but it's a love story with Lakeith Stanfield. I like him.
We have to have at least one.
Why not? Before we leave, we have to thank our sponsor, though, Marcus Theaters, The Palace here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring this program. I just spoke to some people there. I can't name names, but
Yeah, you
big,
can.
big fans of the show. Big fans of the show. Love it. All the folks there at Marcus, thank you for being so supportive of our program. Next week, sir, we're going to be talking about Birds of Prey. That's the Harley Quinn movie that's
Yeah.
coming out.
That's it.
That's the only movie coming out in theaters. So we will also be looking ahead at 2020 and talking about our top 10 most anticipated films of this upcoming year. I'm very excited for that.
It's a tough list.
It's a very tough list.
Have you finished your list?
We have another week.
Rhetorical.
have
I
another
knew
week.
the answer.
But we'll be talking about all that next week. We'll be talking about Birds of Prey, and we'll be recapping the Oscars with our most anticipated films. But until that time, I'm Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.